Hello, I am Deirdre Chester, and I'm a National Program Leader for Applied Nutrition Research in the Institute of Food Safety and Nutrition. Now we will transition to the presentation. Today I will talk to you about integrated programs here at NIFA in our AFRI portfolio. And so the first thing is really to look at what integrated programs are. So these are programs that support integrated research, education, and extension activities. They include at least two of the three functions of the agricultural knowledge system: research, education, and extension within one project. Some programs may require all three components in one project application. However, you need to pay close attention to the request for application because it will tell you whether it requires two or three components. So what does optimal integration look like? Research, extension, and education components should complement one another, and they are truly necessary for the success of the project. They're typically focused around a problem or issue, and they're also interwoven throughout the life of the project to complement and reinforce one another. And what is meant by this is when you submit an integrated program that has research, extension, and education, it should not look like you went to the extension department at the end and said, can you participate? But that it truly is interwoven throughout the lifetime of that project if it's a 5-year project. It should be interdependent, and they are all necessary for the success of the project. These projects are typically stakeholder driven and outcomes oriented. So when you look at the research, extension, and education components, it really should look like they are interwoven throughout, they're all required for the success of that project, and that the outcomes are determined by that research, extension, and education piece. So what are the knowledge gaps? They should address knowledge gaps that are critical to the development of the practices, and the programs will address the stated problem. So when you look at the proposal that you submit, you have a stated problem. You should make sure that the research in this project actually addresses that stated problem, and that research will also get to the knowledge gaps that you have identified. How will information be delivered to help the target audience make informed decisions? So this is the extension component. It conducts programs and activities that deliver science-based knowledge and informal educational programs to people, enabling them to make practical decisions. It is community-based to national audiences, and it can include face-to-face to electronic or a combination thereof. What's very important about the extension component of these projects is that you should really pay close attention for the request for application, because it actually clearly identifies some of the extension examples that you should or could include in your project. When looking at the education component of your project should answer, how will the next generation be trained? So it's teaching and teaching related, and the education should strengthen the institutional capacity and curricula and train the next generation of scientists, educators, and practitioners. It can be formal classroom or laboratory instruction, but it also could include practicum experience. The request for application also gives additional information on examples of education. Also, the educational components must address one or two of the following key strategic actions. So after you have developed your education component for your program, it must also either train students for associate, baccalaureate, master's, or doctoral degrees, and/or prepare K-12 teachers and higher education faculty to understand and present food and agricultural sciences. Which programs are integrated? The AFRI programs, there are selected programs, the critical agricultural research and extension, and also sustainable agricultural systems that are integrated. meaning that they only solicit integrated projects. Also, the Specialty Crops Research Initiative, the Organic Research and Extension Initiative, and there may be others. This information will be found in the request for application under types of applications solicited. Your MPL will inform you if the program solicits for integrated project applications. When looking at the AFRI requirements, in addition to the general requirements of all AFRI applications, integrated project applications must include a logic model, which is a 2-page limit, and also a management plan, which has a 3-page limit. We are also looking for more balanced budget allocation, so no more than 2/3 of that project's budget may be focused on a single component, and those components being research, education, and extension. When we review AFRI integrated projects, it must include appropriate research, education, and/or extension expertise on the panel. It must also identify integrated proposals prior to assigning reviewers. So what we do as the national program leader is that we're looking at these proposals and making sure that the reviewers know that it's an integrated proposal. Look for project objectives focused on each function, meaning that within that proposal, they should give those specific objectives for research, for education, and for extension. And also to ensure that reviewers know which proposals are integrated. So that panel manager, yourself, when you're hired, you are expected to pass on the information to all of the reviewers that these are integrated proposals. And these are reviewed separately from single function proposals in solicitations that solicit both single function and integrated projects. Also, to take note of separate evaluation criteria for integrated projects: the merit of application for research, education, and/or extension, and also the qualifications of the project personnel, the adequacy of the facilities, and project management. Also, project relevance, and whether that individual has submitted for Center of Excellence status. So these are some of the criteria for integrated projects. Are there any questions? And if you do have questions, you need to talk to your NIFA program team. Thank you for your attention.